All right. We are live. Dr. Steve Boring, welcome to this special series of the Future of Fitness, man.
Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. It's an honor.
Yeah, it's really exciting. I mean, this has been a really fun series. So people have been tuning in a little bit. It is called All Aboard, How to Conduct the Perfect Onboarding in Your Health Club or Gym. This is we're in part 3 now. So you are with the Rochester Athletic Club. I want to call it Health Club for a second. It's Rochester Athletic Club in Minnesota. So let's start with this. You're giving me a really good briefing. I mean, very family oriented, right? And like when you say that, you actually mean it. Like some of the services and the details of what you guys have are very family oriented. So let's start with that. Like, if you don't mind, Steve, just give us a brief overview of like what your gym does, who you work with, how you're unique in your marketplace, and then we'll take it from there.
Yeah, absolutely. So Rochester Athletic Club, we call it the RAC. We're a full service family club. We're a private fitness facility. When I say family, like I said, we really bought into it. We've got multiple areas through the club. We're 260,000 square feet, and I think we're just under 15,000 members right now. And that's broken down to about 6,000 memberships, maybe a little less than that. We've got big kids play areas. We've got a kids club center. We've got a place called the Neighborhood, which is it's converted from, it used to be tennis courts, and it's got mini golf and all sorts of games, climbing structures, stuff like that. We serve the community kind of whatever your needs are. I'm the fitness director here. So we've got personal training, we've got group fitness classes, registered dietitians, health coaches, you name it, we've got it. We work with people kind of with all sorts of goals. We've got athletes, high level athletes that train here, all the way down to this might be your first time ever setting foot into a fitness facility. You don't know what to do. And we love the ability to be able to work with everyone, right? We never wanted to carve out just this solo, like this is our client type that we work with. I've got a big staff. I've got 42 personal trainers, and we've got a lot of diverse backgrounds. And so we work with everybody.
Yeah, interesting. And that's in the gym or any kind of business, they'll always say, hey, niche down, right? And if you're everything to everybody, you're nothing to nobody or whatever. I probably just screwed that up. But you know what I mean? Like, and why do you think you guys are able to be successful with that? I mean, is that because of the market size, or is it like what makes that work?
So Rochester's, I think about 110, 115,000 people. So, we're a decent sized market, but I've been here for 8 years, and it's hard to describe what coming into the RAC is like. I'm going to sound like a commercial here for a minute, but we have a community here where we've got kids that grew up at the RAC that now are back, and their kids are at the RAC. Like it's been a part of this community for years and years. And I think we all feel blessed here every day because our members are what make us who we are.
Hmm.
And, while sometimes dialing down to say, let's just say, for example, we're going to do sport specific training, right? I mean, that's an awesome thing to offer. But it does sort of segment you off to just a small portion of the population. Here, because of our size, whether it be the square footage of the facility or the amount of staff we have, we've just been able to make connections in a really broad sense. And we do our best to do a really good job at it. So people keep coming back.
Awesome, man. Well, let's get into the relevant criteria for this series here. So obviously we're doing this series because onboarding is critically important, right? It's something that can easily be overlooked as just a transaction, but it's not, right? It's much more than that. So in your mind, like why is the onboarding process so critical, not just to the business, right, for the revenues and retention numbers that we're all so favorable of, but for the actual client and helping them get their goals?
Yeah, right. So, the old saying, you only get one chance to make a first impression.
Yep.
Your first impression, this is yours to the member as a business, and this is yours to the member as a guide on their fitness journey, right? It's separate from the fact that they may or may not ever buy training with you, but you can only start them on the right foot once. I think ideally, when you really break that down, you've got to kind of have two prongs. Again, you got your business hat on where you're thinking about member retention, you're thinking about financials and things like that. You want somebody to not come into your facility and get hurt, right? You want them to stay. You want them to know where equipment is. You want them to know all of that stuff, how to properly exercise and the steps it takes to get there. You want them to know how to create smart goals for themselves so they don't come in hoping to lose 50 pounds in the first month, right? On the flip side, from that more, let's say, human standpoint, you want them to be successful. At the end of the day, there are lots of businesses that make money that are a lot easier to run than a fitness facility. So you pick that fitness facility for a reason, whether you're the owner or right down to any of the employees there, you picked it for a reason. It's because you're passionate about people, you're passionate about health, wellness, well-being, whatever that may mean. So I know for us, and I'll talk a lot about us, and I'm not being arrogant. We're not unique in that we love our members. Everybody loves their members, right? But we really want to start them on the right foot so that they stick with us, because we know that we can help them on their journey, whatever that may be. And I think the importance of it really comes down again to you want that first impression. You want some sort of a warm welcome, especially when you end up in a facility like this where we have so many people. We just don't want to lose somebody, right? And, I've worked at a lot of gyms. I've been lifting now for about 29 years myself. Started very young, 7 years old. And,
Wow.
it's easy to get lost in tiny little, just your sort of garage gym almost too, right? Because you get used to the day-to-day stuff. So that onboarding process is really the initial creation of trust between you and your member. I care about you. I want you to do well, regardless of what your goal is. I mean, if you're not ever going to spend another dollar here besides your membership, I want to know you're getting your value from that membership. So to me, that's where the onboarding really kicks in, is it's the initial meeting that we have, that initial chance to say, we care a lot about you, and we want that to hit home and stick.
Yeah. Beautiful. As an industry, I mean, you've been obviously in this industry for a long time. Where do you think we've historically got onboarding wrong? Like, where have we missed the opportunities?
It's interesting. I think a lot of times it might be through no fault of our own, but it is when you have that, let's say January 1st, and
Mhm.
you've got a ton of people coming to your facility, regardless of your size. It's hard to not sometimes just pump those out, right? Okay, next person up, let's go. Next person up, let's go. It's hard sometimes to, we as trainers, let's say, tend to be so goal oriented that we don't want to miss, again, that human element, right? There's a meme or something I saw posted here a little bit ago, and it's, personal trainer who's just jacked, and they're telling a mom with 3 kids, single mom with 3 kids, and she's got 2 jobs. And they're like, I don't want to hear you don't have time to eat, right, and exercise. Like, I'm in here
Yeah,
3 hours.
classic.
And it's keeping that stuff in mind, that you're dealing with real people here. At the end of the day, not all going to be hydrated like we should be. We didn't all sleep well last night. I know I got bags under my eyes. I got a 4-year-old at home, and she didn't sleep that well last night. So I didn't either, right? But it's attempting to meet the member, client, patient, whatever, where they currently are. And I think as an industry, it's hard sometimes to not say, we're good at seeing potential. And it's hard sometimes to not say, Eric, this is where you can be, and have that maybe not overwhelm you when you're like, this is my first gym I've been a member of. I really want to make progress, but I don't even maybe know what progress is yet, or I have an idea of it because I watched Pumping Iron, and that's maybe not what I'm supposed to be shooting for, sort of thing. I think a lot of times it comes from a positive place, but I think it's just, people that get into this industry to work in it tend to be pretty advanced, right? And it's hard sometimes to maybe meet people exactly where they need to be.
Yeah. Yeah. Having some empathy, right? And thank you
Right.
for bringing up Pumping Iron. It's been years since that movie's been referenced on this show. So well done. That's
Oh,
that's a
my
classic.
pleasure.
Yeah, so good. So those are really good points. And let's get into how you do it. So you're like, what, and get as granular as you want, but explain in detail the onboarding process, the thought process behind that, and then maybe even how you guys are looking to tweak it this year.
Yeah. So as I mentioned, our goal is to get members onboarded so that they feel welcome here and they know where the pertinent areas of the club are for them. So excuse me, in a broader context, when you join the rack, you go through a meeting with our member services team. They help you sign up. They give you a tour of the club. I would say most of the time, you're probably not going to remember all the areas. It's going to take you a little while. I know I started here as an employee. It probably took me a week to be able to find my way around. We're a big old club, like I said, and we've got a lot of members. So we want people to feel welcome and not feel lost. You got young kids, we're going to really hit home where Kids Club is, things like that. So that tour aspect, while it doesn't sound like a lot, that's a really big first step because it's going to show you where you're supposed to be. Beyond that, boiling it down a little bit, you do get some free services and gifts when you join. This is where some of that the business standpoint and the human element, they kind of merge together. So within my department, for example, group fitness is complimentary. You might not know what class you want to go to. I have an employee that works for me, wonderful gal. I'll give her a shout out here. Her name is Kay. She is a member connection specialist. So she will meet with a lot of new members who join the club, and she'll just, what are you interested in? What do you want to do? I like dance. I like this. I like this. She'll go and attend a class with you. She'll take you right to class. It's a free class, right? But it can be intimidating to walk in. Here's a class with 35 people who all know what they're doing, and I'm brand new. We want to remove that fear element for a service that's free. On top of that, we do every member on the account that is over the age of 13 will get 2 free personal training orientations, PTOs, we call them. And those are really guided by the member. What do you want, right? Are you looking for ongoing training afterwards? We have a different approach. Do you just want a tour now of just strictly our weight facilities to see where things are, how the machines work? We have several different brands of machines here, Hoist and EGYM and Free Motion and stuff like that. So sort of a guide for that. We really connect with them to say, what do you want from us so that we can give it to you? And certainly there is, from a business standpoint, there's an upsell component on the back end of that, because members who enjoy those sessions and do know that they're going to need more help, they already have their point of connection to work with that person. On the flip side, if somebody comes in and they're not interested in training at all, the value you can get from that is, let's make sure that you know this specific brand. We'll say Hoist here, right? This Hoist equipment, you've never been on it before. We've got the rocket line, so the seat moves when you do it. Let's make sure you know how that works so that you don't get hurt. So a lot of that sort of stuff. We like to say that onboarding process, that initial meeting, say with a trainer or with my member connection specialist, that's the first friend you have in the club. Because if you have a friend in the club, you're less likely to quit the club. There's a reason to come back, whether or not you're meeting every week, or you may never meet again, but now I pass you in the hallway. Hey, what's up, Eric? I'm glad to see you back again. And when you have a club that is this large, that can be difficult. So that's where you need a good team as well to make that happen.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, it's interesting, like a member connection. I've never quite heard that before. It's an interesting role. I mean, it's when you have, what you said, 15,000 members.
Yeah, just about
something like that. Yeah, it's really hard. I mean, I don't know if I've talked about it on this podcast a number of times, but Dunbar's number, I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's, roughly 150 is how many relationships you can manage on your own. So, like if I have a small gym, I can have a relationship effectively with 150 people. Once it starts to get over that number, I'm sure it's variance depending on the person and their capacities, but so it's nearly impossible to have a personal relationship with 15,000 people. So you have to break it up. I mean, is there any kind of tools or technologies you guys use to maintain those relationships or help maintain those relationships?
A little bit. So, we like things that are going to give us feedback that we can reference, whether it be for your health metrics or just to check up on you, things like that. One of them I know, what brought this initial connection is we have our EGYM equipment. EGYM was something that was really, really popular for us. I think we brought it in 2 years ago, and that EGYM equipment is an easy point of initial contact for someone, right? It's another service. So we chose not to charge for EGYM here. So it's another service that now we're basically just giving you, but it gives you that point of contact to where now you can get some accurate before and after measurements and things like that. Technology to kind of marry the personalized experience that we want, that is very difficult to get. I will be 100% honest with you, Eric. Our member connection specialist, we could probably talk about that for like 5 hours. Sure. But I will say that position that we created has been one of the biggest benefits for us here. You have to have the right person for it, right? And we ended up kind of having a job description, but we didn't have a person. And then the person showed up and we made it work. Almost a job description almost changed to what her strengths are. But that feeds into your programming then, right? So if you do have someone who can attend a group fitness class with a new member, if you can literally have a card at the desk that says, do you have a question about anything? And this person does not have a title that appears they're going to try to sell you something, that's a benefit for your club, right? Because we'll still have, I've got a fitness floor staff person, for example, that works every hour the club is open. We have fitness floor staff on. One of their jobs is to answer questions about machines, equipment, anything like that. Where is this? How does this work? and we still have people that don't necessarily feel comfortable asking, they'll give us this feedback through our survey system because they don't have to pay for it. We're like, no, that's free. That's complimentary, right? We want to help you. So just that little name, that member connection specialist, it doesn't sound like a sales rep. I don't think Kay's ever sold anything in her life on purpose, right? But at the end of the day, she has that relationship to where she's able to match you with who you need to go with. And does that lead to increased personal training or increased EGYM onboarding or things like that? Absolutely, it does. But it's done from that standpoint of let's build that relationship up front.
A question of curiosity. See, like we talk about, a connection specialist, and that's with, connecting someone on staff with the member. Do you guys focus at all on connecting member to member and forming those relationships?
So actually, just to clarify a little, the member connection specialist, we are connecting the member with the, let's say, area of the club. So it may be a person, it may be you've got shoulder surgery and you need yada, yada. So we're going to put you with this trainer who's a DPT. It may be taking you to, can't hit home enough. We're a really big club. We have people who have been members here for 2 or 3 months and they're like, I completely forgot you had a pool. Like, not even kidding. So you should get in the pool. You should be doing some water walking in the morning. It's that sort of thing. Connecting member to member, we benefited a lot from having a very vocal, let's say the group fitness side, right? So in every facility, you're going to have your members that end up sort of coming together in their area. Your tennis members, your swimming, your lap lane swimmers, right? Your personal training people, your group fitness. We try to have the club set in such a way that it's really easy for you to try new things. But as much as we can, we have our staff sort of encourage that interaction, right? We've got a very social club. It's awesome. Class is done. Let's say a big group fitness class. Unless there's one butted up right behind it, the last thing we want is for class to end and everybody leave, go take a shower, right? We want that social time at the end. We want you in there talking. We want you to get to know the instructor and the other members. We call them our morning coffee club. We've got our members that come in every morning and they're drinking coffee right away, 5 a.m., get a little workout in and stuff like that. And those are those things that kind of grow and sprout out of the culture that you definitely can play a part of. But at the end of the day, it's kind of members taking ownership of that and growing it themselves because they feel at home and they feel at ease. And that comes from trust of the facility, from the owner all the way down to the bottom, that kind of what you're getting. You feel safe and you're like, I do want to hang out here more, play board games down by the basketball courts on the tables or something like that. And that's that piece where, it almost feels like rah fake school spirit if you go out and lead it. And I don't even know if I'm wording that directly or correctly, right? But if I come out, I'm like, here, come on, like let's come play Hungry Hippos together or something. You're like, what is this again, right? Is this guy trying to sell me something? What is it? But eventually over time, the realness of what you put out there does end up coming back to you. And we got the greatest members in the world because I feel like they respect the facility so much. They love the facility so much. We get a lot of that growth organically. It's easy to make friends here, I'd say. A lot of times, right? And we got a ton of members, so we want to make sure that we don't have those people that are coming in just, hoodie up and work out. Like we love that. I love that you're getting to work, but let's get somebody to say hey to you when you come in too. Just something as simple as that.
Yeah. It's these intangibles, right? These human to human things that generally they don't cost a penny. I mean, sure, if you have someone like a connection specialist, they're on payroll, that costs money. But it's the way that person interacts. Like I go into my gym and, most of the time someone says hello when I walk in. Sometimes people don't. And same when I leave, right? Sometimes people say goodbye, have a great night. Some people won't say anything. I notice these things.
Yeah.
And to me, it makes a big difference if someone at least says hello. And it's not that hard because you just scan in. You can just be like, hey, Eric, welcome back. Right.
Yeah.
It's not hard, but it goes so far. And that's like the little bits of things that develop eventually into culture, and culture develops into community. So that's really a keen eye for that stuff is really important.
We really hit, we have a training that we do here called the Building a Culture of Excellence. And we really hit the warm hellos and goodbyes. And, I get away with it because I'm a gym bro. I'm a gym rat. I have been my whole life. Part of the reason why I kept my mohawk all these years is because then I can get away with saying, dude, because I cannot remember names to save my life. Oh, what's up, dude? But it's just anything you can say to, you remember me in some way, right? So our front desk, they're trained in, they do an awesome job. again, you're never going to be able to memorize everybody, right? We've got so many people on staff, but that little scan, welcome back, Eric, have a good workout. You'll keep that with you. And we believe that.
Awesome. Well, Dr. Steve, this has been a lot of fun, man. If people want to connect with you, or if they want to learn more about your athletic club, give us a couple places to go online.
Yeah, absolutely. Best place to start is our website, www.racmn.com. That would be Rochester Athletic Club, Minnesota, sort of the initials, racmn.com. You can give me shoot me an email if you want. As I mentioned before we started, I love to talk. So my email is sboring, my first initial last name, sboring@racmn.com, racmn.com.
Awesome. All right, man. Well, thank you for joining me. Job well done. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Steve Boring.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.